slacking on our Midwest safety videos.
In the second half of this NBA season. Among the teams
I've been slacking
Ben Simmons in a buyout.
Picture this for a second. It's August 2025, and Ben Simmons, the former #1 overall pick, three-time All-Star guy Ben Simmons was compared to Magic Johnson, is sitting at home watching other dudes get signed to NBA contracts. Reality is
like he can hold, bro. He don't try to score.
Who can't even make a layup.
Like who is stopping that?
Over $200 million
a 6'10" point guard
can't even get a phone call. So how do we get here? Well, before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to get the latest NBA news. I'm currently in Florence. My setup is definitely not the nicest. I posted a recent picture of all my travels onto Instagram. The intro.
Yeah, come on, man. I fuck with you, but damn. Like, let's get right now. Hey! That boy like that though, bro.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? When we're talking about Ben Simmons, we're talking about someone who is supposed to be the next generational talent. To quote the late great Kobe Bryant, all Ben Simmons needed.
Question: how far can Ben Simmons go?
Well, he's gotta get a jump shot. You know, it's like it sounds humorous and all that, but I'm dead serious. Yeah. You can't, like, you know, because if not, he'll regret it when his career is over.
The Philadelphia 76ers built their entire
bro, with a jump shot, he's the best player in the league, and it's not even close,
wants
bro.
Him. Not the rebuilding teams looking for veterans.
It's not even close, bro.
That need depth. Nobody. How does that even happen? How do you go from being one of the most promising young players in the league to literally being unemployable at 29 years old? Well, today I'm going to break down
Ben Simmons 29
falls from grace in NBA history, and also discuss what
I did not know that.
Look like. And this all started with one fateful play that at this point you guys are very familiar with. On June 20th, 2021, Wells Fargo Center, Game 7, Eastern Conference Semifinals. The Atlanta Hawks
still had 3 minutes to go, bro.
With 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
That wasn't all his fault.
One of the greatest opportunities for the young Philadelphia 76ers core to make a run to the NBA Finals. And Ben Simmons, the 6'11" point guard who is supposed to be the next Magic Johnson, gets the ball in the post. He spins around Danilo Gallinari, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, he has a wide open path to the rim, but for some reason he was too intimidated of a wide open layup, primarily because he didn't want to go to the free throw line, and as a result he passed up an open layup.
But he was open though, bro.
This is a play that any high school player would make. Thibault immediately gets fouled. He makes one of 2 free throws. The Hawks keep the lead, and in that exact moment, though we didn't know it at the time, Ben Simmons' career as a franchise cornerstone as we knew it was over. The Hawks would go on to win 103-96, eliminating the Philadelphia 76ers. And
that play was made with 3 minutes to go, bro. They don't Ben Simmons dick.
Literally throwing his hands up in disbelief the second Simmons passed that ball. He knew, we all knew, that that was supposed to be their year. But here's where it gets worse. After the game, Doc Rivers gets asked if Ben Simmons can be the point guard on a championship team, and instead of having his players back, Doc Rivers gives the most Doc Rivers answer ever and delivers a quote that would haunt Ben Simmons forever.
Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
It didn't get much better when Ben Simmons' all-star teammate Joel Embiid didn't have his back either. He piled on as well, basically.
They lost that game. That one play is dick suck. I ain't gonna lie. That one play is dick suck, bro. Y'all had 3 minutes, bro. Y'all had plenty of opportunity to win that game. That one play did not fuck up that, bro. Anybody else would have made that same play with them coming. Oh, man coming up, quick dunk. All you had to do was dunk that hole, bro. Get off Ben Simmons' dick.
Exactly what Sean was
get off Ben
talking
Simmons'
about.
dick,
Look,
bro.
I
They on
get
Ben
it. The
Simmons' dick.
76ers were frustrated, but what happened next turned this from a basketball problem into a complete disaster. Ben didn't just lose confidence, he lost his entire identity as a basketball player. And the 76ers basically pushed him out the door. By August of 2021, Simmons was so hurt that he met with the Philadelphia 76ers in Los Angeles and straight up tells them that he's never played playing for Philadelphia again. And he meant it. This dude was willing to lose $20 million in fines rather than put that jersey back on. $20 million. Do you know how crazy you gotta be to turn down $20 million? The holdout was legendary. Simmons doesn't show up to training camp in September. By October, the Sixers are withholding $8.25 million of his salary. When he finally does show up on October 11th after losing over $1 million in fines, the story just gets even wilder. On October 18th, 2021, Ben Simmons shows up to practice with his phone in his pocket, standing alone, looking completely disengaged during team huddles. The next day, Doc asks him to join a defensive drill. Simmons refuses. Doc tells him to go home, and Simmons literally drops the ball and walks out of practice. The Sixers suspend him for conduct detrimental to the team, and that's when Joel Embiid dropped the hammer that might be the coldest quote of the whole saga, saying, "At this point, I don't care about that man. Honestly, our job is not to babysit somebody. Babysit Joel Embiid,
you the baby,
his
nigga.
Co-star, the guy who was supposed to win championships. That relationship was cooked. Burnt, ashes. Simmons then claims that he has mental health issues. And look, I'm not here to question anyone's mental health struggles, but the timing, the way he refused to work with team doctors while working with the Players Association specialists, it definitely rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So finally, on February 10th, 2022, right before the trade deadline, the 76ers got what they wanted. They traded Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks to Brooklyn for James Harden. The Sixers basically paid the Nets to take their former #1 overall pick. That's how toxic this situation had become. Now here's where you might think the story gets better. Brooklyn's got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Ben Simmons doesn't need to score. He just needs to be a defensive enforcer and that elite facilitator. It would be the perfect fit. Ben Simmons is going to be the guy that'll slow down Giannis in the playoffs. They could put him on Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum to slow him down. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant can focus on scoring. Everything was going to work out wonderfully, right? I hate to say it, but wrong. Ben Simmons doesn't play a single game in 2021 to 2022. Not one. Due to a back injury, herniated disc, whatever you want to call it. Then comes the 2022 playoffs. The Nets are in the process of getting swept by the Celtics, down 3-0, facing elimination in Game 4. Everyone's expecting Ben Simmons to finally make his debut. He's been ramping up. He's been on the bench in these wild, colorful outfits, looking like he has no plan on checking in. But when Game 4 arrives on April 25th, 2022, where's Ben Simmons? Well, he wasn't at the arena. He's not even on the bench. Dude woke up with back soreness and decided not to show up to an elimination game. NBC Sports reported that his own teammates thought he wasn't pushing himself to play. The Nets eventually would get eliminated, and Ben Simmons becomes a walking meme. And when he finally does play in 2022 to 23, it's truly sad to watch. I mean, the dude who was averaging almost 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists in Philly, he put up 6.9 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 6.1 assists. Career lows across the board. ESPN described it perfectly. It's a steep decline from his days as an all-star. The man was shooting 43.9% from the free throw line. Let me repeat that. 43.9%. And by the way, he's literally the worst playoff free throw shooter in NBA history among players with at least 67 attempts. And that's not me being dramatic, that's an actual fact. Ben Simmons has shot 34% from the charity stripe during the playoffs. So another year goes by, and Ben Simmons is trying to hype everybody up, saying that he is going to be ready during the 2023 to 24 season. But it got even worse. Simmons plays in 15 games total, 6.1 points per game, and he ends up getting another back surgery in May of 2024, his second in 3 years. The Nets are paying this man $40 million to play 15 games. That's almost $3 million per game. Now, some people are wondering how could this happen?
This is not my video, by the way.
Lose your talent this way.
See the quality
we need to dig into what actually happened in Brooklyn, because this wasn't just about basketball skills disappearing. This isn't Space Jam or Space Jam 2. No. This is not Space Jam 2. Does anyone like Space Jam 2? This was a complete psychological breakdown combined with legitimate physical issues that created the perfect storm. First, let's talk about the mental aspect. I hate to say this, but you don't have to be a psychologist to tell that Ben Simmons is one of the most mentally feeble individuals that you've ever seen, not only in the NBA, but in all of humanity. And I know this sounds harsh, but it doesn't take a genius to realize this. To turn your back on the team that invested in your development, that had your back even though you were stagnating as a player during the first 4 years of your career, when there were obvious obvious holes to your game and demand a trade to a team that is clearly not as invested in you as a developing player is boneheaded to say the least. But in April of 2022, during that infamous Celtics series, Simmons admitted to Nets officials that he had a mental block that was creating stress that could serve as a trigger point for his back issues. Can you think about that for a second?
I ain't gonna lie. All right, now that was crazy.
His team that his brain is literally preventing his body from functioning properly. ESPN's Mark
I ain't gonna lie, he was living a big man's dream, bro.
And Ben opened up about the shooting criticism.
Damn, I hate that, bro, because I was rooting for Ben, bro.
The constant discourse about his jump shot built up.
I was rooting for Ben Simmons. I low-key still am, bro, because I think he with us now, so
enough to attempt
I ain't got no choice but to root for the man.
In a single college game, and now he was psychologically shattered by public criticism. But it wasn't just mental, the physical problems were very real. Simmons explained that his back issues started in February of 2020 against the Milwaukee Bucks, saying, "I had a dead foot, couldn't sleep, and there were times when I couldn't walk." He described going upstairs and his whole right side just dropped. He literally couldn't move and had to be taken to the hospital in an ambulance. The pressure in Brooklyn made everything worse. Unlike in Philly, where he was the guy, in Brooklyn he was just supposed to be the third wheel behind Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
When that happened and we got Ben, a lot more pressure started to come in on our franchise, because now not only do we have this going on, but also we have a situation that Ben is dealing with where everybody is trying to micromanage the narrative. Like, he's doing this, he's doing that. So it wasn't a fair trade at the outset, right? It was not at all. I didn't feel like that was a fair trade, but at the same time when it happened, he went to our division.
Think about the impossible situation. Ben was traded to Brooklyn to be a defensive specialist and facilitator, but the team still needed him to score. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving demanded the ball, so where did that leave Ben Simmons? He wasn't the primary playmaker anymore, but he also couldn't score reliably. Both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving demanded significant usage, so Ben Simmons' game just didn't work with KD and Kyrie. His teammates got frustrated too. In November of 2022, The Athletic reported that Nets coaches and players have been concerned about his availability and level of play, with some questioning his passion for the game. Markieff Morris actually called him out in a team meeting, telling Simmons the team needed him and that he had to respond when facing adversity. Kevin Durant basically gave up on him before the 2022
KD
playoffs,
ain't finna sit there and KD ain't gonna sit there and wait on you long, bro.
I'm not putting any pressure
Kevin Durant is just gonna be Kevin Durant. That's it. That's all. Don't expect nothing more. Don't expect nothing less, bro.
And the shooting problems became
Please
legendary.
don't, because you're gonna be very upset.
Air ball at open practice in Brooklyn. There's another video showing him missing 8 consecutive shots in warm-ups. These weren't game situations. This was just shooting around with no defense. Simmons later admitted that the crazy part is I'm going into a game knowing I'm not able to. My body's not allowing me to do certain things. So it's so frustrating because you'll get in simple situations where you're just fumbling, or you can't hit the rim on a hook shot, or whatever it is. He was playing hurt, but he was also playing scared, and the injuries kept piling up. After missing all of the 2021-22 season, he played just 42 games in 2022-23 before getting shut down again with a nerve impingement. In 2023-24, he played in 15 games total and actually considered retiring during his rehab, saying, "There were times last summer when I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I might have to stop playing." By the end, even his own teammates had given up hope. One Brooklyn player told The Athletic that they were beginning to question his desire. When your own locker room starts questioning whether you even want to play basketball, you're absolutely cooked. And that's before we mention the timing in which Ben Simmons was shut down with his nerve impingement. Remember, Ben Simmons was shut down after the Brooklyn Nets traded for Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and Dorian Finney-Smith, creating a logjam at the forward position. Jacques Vaughn, his head coach at the time, even said this:
"What we want from each guy is to give everything, every ounce that they
have. I like him, bro. I hope he get another job, bro. Is he still over there?
Around Ben, what position fits for Ben, how we can make him.
I don't think he over there no more.
Every opportunity. That's the goal. And I'm still trying to figure that out.
And somehow this got even worse this past year. And this is the part that really shows you how far he's fallen. February of 2025, the Nets and Simmons agreed to
They got rid of Buddy.
Over 3 seasons in Brooklyn, they paid him $124 million for 90 games played. That's $1.38 million per game. For comparison, LeBron James makes about $500,000 per game. game. The Nets paid Ben Simmons superstar money for role player production. Actually, scratch that, it's more like G League level production. The Clippers decided to give him a chance and pick him up on February of 2025 for the veteran minimum, $1.08 million. His first game was actually pretty solid. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists.
Appreciate that sub, man.
Overtime win against Utah. And for a second,
there you go, Big Judy.
By the playoffs, Ben Simmons completely faded out of the rotation. He averaged 8.4 minutes per game in the playoffs. He scores a total of 4 points, not per game, but total. 4 points in 5 playoff games. The Clippers release him on June 29th, 2025.
Damn, we got rid of Buddy.
August of 2025.
Bucket?
Free agency started over a month ago on July 1st. Ben Simmons is still unsigned. Brian Windhorst reported that the Celtics, Knicks, Kings, and Suns all showed interest, but here's the thing, Ben Simmons wants more than the veteran minimum. After everything that's happened, after averaging 5 points a game, this dude still thinks he deserves more than the minimum. According to the Philadelphia,
he done went from a point guard to playing center,
lower
bro.
than Josh Giddey, Malcolm Brogdon,
that
and
shit
Russell
is
Westbrook,
sad, bro.
Point guards.
That's a big man dream to get that bitch and handle it and do what he want to do with it.
Recent journeyman is more wanted
my
than Ben
God,
Simmons.
bro.
That's where we're currently at. Let me put this into perspective with some comparisons here. Shannon Sharp compared Ben Simmons to Deshaun Watson, which is a crazy comparison, by the way. Both elite talents who had one controversial moment that completely broke their confidence.
Deshaun Watson
Charles
decline
Barkley
is
used to say
crazy.
Ben Simmons was a jump shot away from being an all-time great. Now calls the
he wasn't wrong though.
Simmons is the one to blame. Stephen A. Smith called Ben Simmons the most selfish player he's ever seen. Shaq called his playoff absence a punk move. These aren't random Twitter trolls.
Punk
These
is
are
crazy.
NBA legends and the biggest voices in sports
Punk
media.
was crazy.
The
I ain't gonna lie.
history alone is insane. Since 2020, Ben Simmons has had multiple nerve impingements in his back, 2 surgeries including a microdiscectomy, and has missed approximately 40% of his
Fader,
possible
come here.
games. Sports psychologist Dr. Sean Baylock analyzed the situation and compared it to people with massive
seen my boy
anxiety.
jump?
His brain literally
Get off me,
shows
little
up a
Kobe.
pain response before
Get off me, little
he gets
nigga.
on the basketball court.
Oh,
Let's talk
dunk
about
him.
where Ben Simmons could
never
potentially
mind. Hook
land,
shot.
because despite everything,
Hook shot
he's
on a
still only
bitch.
29 years old. He turned 29 on July 20th. So at his peak,
Oh,
Ben
yeah.
Simmons was only one of 3 players ever, alongside LeBron James and Magic Johnson, to average 7+ assists, 1+ steals, and 0.4+ blocks while shooting over 50% from the field. That talent doesn't just disappear. In Ben Simmons' case, it might have. The Ringer
It really
identified
haven't,
the
bro.
Indiana Pacers
When
as
you don't want to
potentially
play
the
for
best
somebody,
fit.
you
With
ain't gonna
Tyrese
play, bro.
Halliburton out for the season with an Achilles tear, they could use a pass-first point guard who can run the offense. The problem is the Pacers are fresh off of an NBA Finals appearance. I know the Pacers are completely battered, but the East is significantly weaker this year, so it's not crazy to assume that they make it back to the playoffs this very year. The New York Knicks make some sense on paper. They need a backup creator for when Jalen Brunson sits. Surround Simmons with shooters like Karl Anthony Towns, and maybe he can be effective for 15 to 20 minutes a night.
hurt
But
the
this is
Knicks
New
though.
York
That's
we're
not
talking about.
That's
The
not
most
nothing crazy to
ruthless
say.
Media market in sports. You think Philly was tough on him? Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
would
New
keep Ben
York
Simmons
would have that
alive
boy
the first
shot.
time He passes
No
up an
cap.
open layup. What about Sacramento? This is a spot that Ben Simmons could actually theoretically rebuild his value, because this team is completely
I like the Kings for
devoid of
him, bro.
any talent at all whatsoever. They
Get
lost De'Aaron
Sabonis-
Fox.
get
They don't really have
Sabonis
much
out of
point
there,
guard
bro.
depth. Who are they going to start at?
Free Sabonis from the Kings, bro. Free that man, please.
Point guard.
God,
this year.
I feel so bad for
Markelle
him.
Fultz. The Warriors briefly showed interest.
He went
but
over
let's
there
be
for
real. You
Fox,
think
and Fox
Steve Kerr
left
and
his
Draymond
ass.
Green are going to tolerate someone who's scared to shoot?
Left him
Steph
straight
Curry's
for
trying to win
dead.
one
For
last ring
Wemby.
before
I
he
mean, yeah,
retires.
I
They
would
don't
too.
have
For
time
Wemby,
a
yeah, I would
reclamation
too.
project. Here's the
But
brutal
damn.
truth that multiple analysts are saying. There's a very good chance that we've seen the last of Ben Simmons in the NBA. And think about that journey from the #1 overall pick in 2016 to Rookie of the Year.
That ain't
although
even
in a
10
very
years ago,
controversial
guys.
Rookie of the Year race, to a 3-time All-Star, to someone who might be playing in the Chinese Basketball Association at 29 years old. He's made over $200 million in career earnings, so it's not about the money anymore. It's about whether an NBA team believes he can still contribute. The saddest part is when Ben's healthy and
probably ain't
engaged,
got
he's
none of
still
that.
an incredible talent. That debut with the Clippers showed some
Gatorade
flashes.
dropped
The
him,
court
all
vision
them
is still
boys
there.
dropped
The
him.
defensive instincts are still there, but the aggression, the confidence, the killer instinct that you need to succeed at the highest level
And won.
died in Game 7 against against the Atlanta Hawks. And maybe that's the real tragedy.
You can get him to play center and just let him go, grab and go that bit. Sort of like a Jokic role. Not saying he can score like Jokic, but just to get that bitch and start the offense. That shit OP, man.
Sometimes in sports, one moment can define everything.
I forgot about Brook Lopez being on the Lakers, bro.
Dunk with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in Game 7. Everything since then, the holdout, the back injuries, the mental health struggles, the horrible free throw shooting, the benchings, the buyouts, it all traces back to that one pass. As I'm recording this in August of 2025, Ben Simmons remains unsigned. Maybe the Pacers take a flyer on him for the minimum. Maybe someone gets desperate after a training camp injury. Or maybe, just maybe, we've already seen the last of Ben Simmons in an NBA uniform.
That's crazy,
What's crazy is that Ben Simmons is younger than Damian Lillard, younger than Paul George, younger than Kawhi Leonard. In a normal timeline, he would be in the middle of his prime right now. Instead, he's just fighting to stay in the league. The rise and fall of Ben Simmons might go down as one of the biggest what-if stories in NBA.
He loved that hook,
What
though.
if he developed a jump shot? What if he dunked that basketball?
I think
that year against
I think he'll go and develop
What if
it,
Doc
bro.
Rivers had his back? What if he never got hurt? What if he just stayed confident? We'll never know. All we know is that right now, in August of 2025, one of the most talented players of his generation can't even get a minimum contract. And that, more than any stat or quote or injury report, tells you everything you need to know about how far Ben Simmons has fallen. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I hate to break to Philadelphia 76ers fans, but you guys aren't doing so well either. The end of Joel Embiid is here as well. We have a completely separate.
I mean, Joel Embiid cool.
It's really not looking good for you guys.
He cool, but he ain't been all that
I'm
for
your
me,
boy
bro.
Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
W video, man. Shouts out to what's his name, Flight Mike, bro. Tell me how y'all feel. Do y'all really feel like Ben Simmons' career is already over, man? I don't think so, bro. I think a team gonna give him one more chance. He got one more. He fuck up this time, it's a wrap. But let me know y'all thoughts, you know what I mean, in the comment section below. Also, my socials will be down below, man. Make sure y'all boys follow me. My Instagram, TikTok, Twitter gonna be down there. Make sure y'all boys like, comment, share, all that good stuff on this video. That being said, man, it's your boy T-Whip, and we out.